So I'm at the Top Velocity pitching facility with Brent in Louisiana. We've gone over the entire volleyball approach, the triple extension of the jump, hip-shoulder separation, all the other separations needed into contact. We also talked a lot about the forearm, a lot about the arm slot. Now we're gonna discuss the reason I came here, the main one, the one that's the most fun and innovative and a frontier for me, is spins and different angles you can put on the volleyball. There's a huge premium for that in our sport. If you just hit the same way every time, you are going to lose. Doesn't matter how hard or high. I mean, if it's really high, you'll probably win, but most people, doesn't matter how hard or high, you need to be able to hit angles, left, right, straight, high, low, all of them from different arm slots, sometimes bent arm, sometimes straight arm. We're gonna discuss a bit on that. I'll just give my overview of how I see spins in volleyball, how I see spins in tennis, and then we'll discuss how I see spins in baseball, probably gonna be pretty off, and then maybe he'll correct me on that, and then we'll discuss how to translate all this stuff to volleyball. So how I see it in volleyball, I'll just keep this kind of cool. You have straight ahead, so you're, I'll just do this. So your backswing, you're jumping up, you can hit straight ahead, you can hit away, and you can hit cross body. Away is also commonly called thumb down, cross body, thumb up. Sometimes you'll see it wrist away, thumb down, inside out, and this is also called cut back, thumb up, internal. Those are the three directions I think of: straight, away, and cut back. For tennis, when you're playing tennis and you are pitching with or serving a tennis ball, I'll show it here. You'll have your tennis and you'll toss it up. A lot of times they're going with their flat serve, not much spin. They got their kick serve, which has a lot of top spin. They might have their twist serve, which is the away spin. And so the translations for those to volleyball is the flat serve in tennis is like the straight hit in volleyball. The kick serve in tennis is like the cutback hit in volleyball. And the twist serve, as I've heard it called, is like the away hit in volleyball. So in baseball, they have their own spins. How I understand it, there's your fastball, which has kind of backspin, but it's pretty much like the straight hit. You're just going for speed. Then you have your screwball, which people don't really do a whole lot of, I think, because it's hard for your elbow and maybe not too effective, but it's there, and that's the same as the away hit. And then you have your 12-6 curveball, or maybe a slider if there's a little more side spin, which is the equivalent of hitting cross body. And so a big difference is that, yes, baseball is only hitting this way. There's a little variability, but that strike zone is pretty small. Volleyball, I'm trying to hit that way and that way. Tennis is kind of the same thing as baseball. It's kind of a smaller serving box. However, I really think there's a crap ton of similarities, especially hitting this way in volleyball with the baseball curveball. That's the main thing I wanted to go over today. Some other things is that typically the more across your body you want to go, you're going to have an arc that goes this way. Wrist away, it's going to go this way. You're probably going to get layback at a higher elbow position for wrist away, and you'll probably get layback at a lower elbow position if you're good at cutback. And straight is somewhere in the middle. Typically straight is the fastest. The more sides you get, you're going to hit it at a lower point crossing the net with more spin and less overall speed. So those are the components I think about with angles. There's a whole host of things here. There's so much going on: peripheral vision, deciding late, hiding it from your opposing team. But I just want to hear some of your thoughts. Was I right on those spins with baseball?
Yeah.
What do you think of my analysis? How can we translate the baseball strike box, and I'll tell my ideas on this, but into the kind of wider plethora?
Well, I mean, it's similar. When you look across court, you see the linear perspective of the lines kind of creates this wider at the bottom strike zone, tighter at the end. It's just the impression of it, right?
Yeah.
So you are throwing to a box just like pitching.
And
now,
in tennis serving, yeah.
But in physics, the physics of this is what you actually define well in like the layman's approach. But the physics of it, you're talking about Magnus effect, which is the spinning affecting direction. And then you're talking about the vector of the wrist when the ball is pushed, forces pushing the ball, which creates the direction of how it comes out the hand.
Okay.
So you're going to have two things driving direction: how it comes out the hand.
That's like translational.
Yeah.
And then you have the rotation.
The Magnus effect, which is how
Magnus.
Rotation is driving, breaking the air and causing
so the break
movement.
is huge because people are here, the ball's coming, and that little break is the reason you got a point. It's really important in volleyball. Some people, they hit hard, but the spin's super predictable.
Well, it's like I can
soft with unpredictable spin, and it's much harder to dig.
Yeah, I can either push the ball that way, or I could hit the ball straight and it spins that way. That's basically what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And you kind of want both, which we want both too.
You want to be able to come up, and I want to be able to hit there really hard, high.
But have some late movement as well.
Some late break, but really.
But more, you just want direction.
Consistency and stability, direction is, and then if you can get some break on it, great. But my issue is when I hit cross body, I'll swing out. I think this swings out. I lose all my hip shoulder separation. I put side spin on the ball. My elbow hurts. The ball went out.
Yeah.
I got blocked or hit it in the net. It's just a whole
negative
event. And so I've learned a lot to hit this way. And this is more of like my backup. But I want it to become a strength.
I think you just need to find where you want to hit on the ball, which is typically on the top because you get it down, right? And that really to go in different directions is just now I'm going to hit it more over here, which is supinated. And now I'm going to hit it more over here.
But the arm path before getting there is...
But the point is, if your arm path gets too dramatic, now we're over here.
Yeah.
Or if it gets too dramatic, now we're over here. So it's really just tell yourself, where do you want to be? I want to be here, I want to be here, and I want to be here.
But we do need to get on that side. I mean, like my teammate, he's former Little League pitcher, like I was telling you about, really good, and coached by Tom House, I think, a little, or at least he knows of him a lot. And he can hit, he's jumping, and he says when he hits it, he throws his glove arm as hard as he can in. He stays closed.
And he's really trying to create direction.
He's trying to hit it off
but
his
he's coming
shoulder.
this way.
He doesn't let it open. He keeps it closed. He says he feels a ton of chest activation.
Yeah.
He feels like he's
across.
karate chopping it more than actually hitting it flat. It feels like that. And then...
Well, that's fine.
And then
so
it always goes in, and it's really hard to read because he's hitting, and he hits it here, not out
But
here.
understand that's dependent on
so much stuff, but
it's dependent on his approach position.
And it's dependent on
so
that. It's
the
more
angle
outside,
he's trying to connect.
It's a more outside in here.
And then he's going way over
he's
here. Yeah.
Whereas if he was approaching more straight
It'd
on,
be less. Yeah.
I'd be hitting at the referee's face.
So you have to
have the approach angle favor the angle you're going to hit.
Right.
So it all comes together that way with the approach angle, which we talked about at the beginning of this video series.
And if you're hitting the ball flat where there's no spin, or you're hitting the ball with too much spin, then that's going to be dependent on where the wrist is at hitting. Like obviously if you're coming over here, the wrist is going to be here, but the wrist can still be trying to pronate
It's
there.
doing things, that's another part of it.
So how this is moving, going into the ball, is going to affect how it's spinning. So if for some reason you feel like everything's lined up right, but it's just like a knuckleball, you probably aren't getting a lot of wrist action then. You could be kind of slowing it down, stiff wrist, all the things you talk about.
Yeah, and by wrist action, I am a fan of pronating through the ball, maybe holding supination through it and pronating after, and getting some of the hello, goodbye motion. But as far as wrist flexion extension goes, I try to cut all of that out of my hitting.
And all that's going to affect it. And then too, just like with baseball, so this is, if you want to really understand it with the baseball, is the Magnus effect means if I'm spinning really fast, the air is moving faster this way than, faster this way than this way. So it creates, no, the other way. It's moving faster this way and this way, so it creates a rising effect. That's what the Magnus effect, which airplanes use it, right?
Oh.
Airplanes push more air under the wing than above the wing, so it makes it lift. So that's what the Magnus effect is. So we play with that, but that means we have to have really good spin. If we don't have good spin, the Magnus effect is subtle. It's not aggressive. So that's why baseball players are trying to get high spin, because when we change our spin axis, where the ball's facing, we're going to get a lot of movement in those directions.
Okay.
So.
And one question I had is, I mean, like my old teammate Andy, like I said, he's got the best cutback swing, I think, in the entire world, including indoor, which is a big statement, but I think it's true. And when he's jumping up to hit, and he's told me, well, he'll just hit it that way well. And then when we're throwing the ball to warm up, he'll do this curveball at me, and he'll throw it, and it just breaks so hard. With a volleyball. He's palming it, and he'll throw it like that.
Because he's creating the spin,
like that.
and then
I
getting
try
the
to do it, and mine's like sometimes I get it here and it's really slow. It's like a loopy, like, even though I tried to throw it hard, or it's super side spinning and it hurts my elbow.
Because you're going
what
more
are the components needed to get that true, powerful? You mentioned staying supinated a little longer. You also mentioned getting layback down here as opposed to up here. It's more this way. The glove arm, kind of the fulcrum of the front leg. I mean, there's so much stuff.
Well, what's spinning that ball when he's doing that, and the reason he's spinning better than you, is when his action to go back is creating a bigger action to go forward. So he's getting more arm internal rotation speeds and pronation speeds. And that's the coupling, but it's moving up. If I'm getting good external and internal rotation speeds, I'm probably getting good pronation or supination pronation speeds. So he's creating more of this than you, creating more spin than you.
Okay.
Because it makes sense because you've been a little bit more pushy than this. So he's probably better at that than you.
He is.
But that's what you could work on,
I'm better
right?
than him at hitting this way because of that. Because when I hit this way, it's actually quite whippy. When I kind of go more this way, it becomes more and more push.
Right, which means you extend probably better than him. He probably rotates better than you. So.
Yeah, and kind of another thing we mentioned today is the scap. I've always thought of layback just being glenohumeral, your shoulder joint, but you were mentioning the scap kind of does stuff. And I think that's because when I go to hit crossbody, my elbow swings out. It's like readable at that point because when you're here, you can kind of do everything, but once it goes out, you kind of like
they know where you're going to go.
And when he hits it, his elbow gets up, and I'll try and do that. I'm like. But I think it's because his scap is giving some up. What is it called? Upward rotation.
Yeah, upward rotation and retraction. So basically, the scap is coming down and up, and the trunk's supporting that by extending, and then it just gives you more room to go back.
Yes, because his arm goes way back, and his elbow comes up when he does it.
But
mine goes
but watch
out,
this.
His goes up.
But also, some people just have more rotational range of motion. So
I've also thought that too.
You're about 90 internal, which is great. That's a lot. But you're only about 110 external, right? So 90 to 110. If you watch, do me. Okay, now go back. Look how much more back. So I just have more range of motion than you.
He does too. We measured external rotations, and he has more. He literally has more. He has like 10 degrees more or something like that.
So he's taking advantage of that. So.
Yeah, but I think I'm not taking advantage of the scapular upward. I think I lose. What happens in baseball when they go here and there's not that scapular upward?
Well, they hold this position,
like swinging out or
well, they'll say getting around the ball, but pushers, right?
Around the ball,
the guys that can't go back typically get here and they try to push through, so they're pushing the ball.
I see. Okay. Well, then that's my issue. I'm hoping, like, my plan is like I'm gonna come in when I get back home, like literally tomorrow. I'm gonna work
upward rotation, external rotation, more of this.
Yes, and then
boom.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, that's kind of it. I think it's interesting in volleyball. You can hit it in front of you, and it goes more down. The more underneath it you get, you can hit up, and then you can kind of fudge it where it's in front of you, but you lean forward, and then it's kind of behind you, and there's all the different stuffs with the arm slot.
Because it's biomechanics. You're just messing with all the levers.
And I mean, you can hit it here, maybe a little here, a little here. Like sometimes you're jumping backwards, sometimes you're jumping forward, sometimes you're jumping like backwards and off, or like backwards and tight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like all three dimensions,
but at the end of the day, this sequence.
Understand the baseball stuff because it's more controlled, way more studied.
Yeah.
And I think it all, with like 3 or 4 modifications, like first principles, like added on top. It pretty much all transfers like very, very clean.
It does, because it's a biomechanical sequence of body. Like I tell people, like it's hard to say we can't learn from sports because I have 2 arms, he has 2 arms. I have 2 legs, he has 2 legs. I have a spine, I have a head.
Right.
So it's like it's hard to
same physics.
Yeah, it's hard to say, and we move things and we hit it with our arms and we accelerate. So it's hard to say we can't share when we're the same bodies doing similar things to objects.
Right. Brent and I talked to Brent about this. Sometimes I'll bring up volleyball or baseball stuff as a way to help volleyball, and I hear people sometimes say, they're like, that doesn't apply. You're in the air. It's more abs rather than hips. There's no ground reaction force during the throw. And to me, it's an overhead throwing movement. We have the same anatomy. We have the same physical mechanics applying to all of us, the same gravity. There are some differences being airborne You are contacting the ball at contact instead of holding it. But to me, I mean, what are the big differences? There's like literally what are they? I mean, maybe we can go over that in a later
I think
video.
you said like you're off the ground, but there's pitchers that jump and get off the ground, land and throw. They do land and throw.
In tennis, they're here and they get like a 2-inch jump.
It's just there's little differences. To me, throwing and hitting are so identical. Or throwing and hitting volleyball.
Pitching and,
but hitting and baseball, that gets a little bit more different, but it's still a similarity in the sequence of the movement.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean,
I think the more simple the principle is, whether it's slow to fast, small to big, the more it applies to everything. And then the more you get kind of to contact point, the more the sports become different, right?
Oh, yeah. But similar for us. Our arm actions are very similar.
It's still
But I brought Olympic lifting into baseball. I was probably the most well-known person for doing it. I get the same same comments like, that's a different sport. How does that connect? And it's like they're moving weights, but for them to move weight wells, they have to be powerful and they have to be mobile. Is that not something we need for baseball?
Right. Yeah, I'm like, if you want to use the translation argument, like, why are we even weightlifting? That's the most unsimilar thing to volleyball. If you're going to use that same line of thinking, like, but we weightlift, and the similar thing we look at.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Do y'all need high amounts of power?
Right.
Do y'all need to be mobile? Do you need to be strong? So of course, like, why would that hurt you when it's the things that it does well, you will benefit from?
Right. All right, well, this video is kind of a longer one, but we're talking about how to put different spins on the ball, different directions. Just in summary, a little higher elbow when you're going to lay back, hitting this way, kind of in between hitting straight, and a little lower, but then you want to really upwardly rotate with your scap. Actually, I don't know. I think maybe wrist away is definitely here. Cut back is more of an upward scap motion as opposed to this. It's more of that.
Well, what you're doing is
the fastball
when you go
is
up,
sort of in between those.
Yeah. Well, when you go up this way, it allows you to go that way. When you're down here, it's more turn. Yeah. When you're just up and perfectly symmetrical, it's forward. So basically, you're just showing when you go across the body, you come down and use more rotation. When you go the opposite way, or that arm side, you go higher, so then you get this movement.
Right.
So this way is down for this movement.
But you do come up for this way eventually. But you start more down.
You come.
So you're kind of here, and then here, and then for wrist away, you got to get to here, and then so it's like here, stretch, unstretch. The other way is here, stretch.
Yeah, but if you go too high when you go that way, if you go too high when you go that way, you're going to have to somehow drop to go across. So I think you're higher when you go arm side. You're slightly lower to go.
It is true. People hit this way like this.
Yeah.
And the other way they hit like this.
Yeah.
And it's like universal.
So you're going to go up a little bit more. Yeah.
And this one goes up and down more, and then this one goes kind of.
But you're just playing with this lever, and then this lever.
Yes.
So that's why this is doing that, because we're playing with 3 levers that can move us in all different directions.
But I would say like this is one lever, but then the scap
is another lever.
So it's kind of 4, right? It's
the scap and this can be one lever.
If you combine them, But I think that's one of the big things I learned today is the scap is a joint. It's back here. It's separate from this joint. So there's this, but there's also this stuff.
Well, and that's what helps you go back too.
Yeah. So anyway, that concludes this video on hitting angles, arm slots, and how it translates from volleyball to baseball.